So, Molly, you work with both families and professionals, and two worlds are often busy and full of emotions, as what we talked about earlier, right? So, you mentioned about that happiness is not something to chase, but as a way of being. Um, from what you've seen, what are some of the most effective ways that people can do that?
Mm, yeah, so when you talk about families and workplace,
Mhm.
I think of relationships. Relationships with others is one of the mm, most key factors of our happiness because by nature, as humans, we need the connection with others, other human beings.
Correct.
That is just a core psychological need. So how cultivating relationships in the family setting or at workplace is the key to uh, happiness in the first place. So and I was thinking what prevents us from being happy, or from having a smooth relationships at work or at in the family, is probably about expectation, about how we expect others to be, to behave, and how we expect of ourselves. Sometimes that really generates a lot of stress and friction. So, for example, when we're in a family, we there are certain things we kind of expect our children to do and to be. And if they don't fit into that expectation, I mean, we don't even realize it cognitively, but we probably have some expectations of how they should behave, how they should be polite or they should do their homework after school. They should go to bed at certain hour, right? But if the kids don't behave according to our expectation, then we get mad, we get, upset. And same thing as our partners. Um, we have certain expectations. And so at workplace, we have expectations of others to be professional, and most of all, we have this expectation of how we should be at workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, we probably have all um, developed the internal expectation of what we think others expect of us. So we try to be that at work. We try to be professional, we try to be diligent, we try to be sociable. But that wears out our energy at work. So those are where I think that's a very big chunk of the stress, where the stress comes from. So maybe the best way to cope with it is to have those mini self-reflections, have those space really for ourselves. Like I said, in my a workshop designing for a company, currently working for a company to develop their well-being workshops.
Mm-hmm.
And one theme we discovered was that how do we incorporate mini reflection and mindfulness during work hours? Maybe it's when you pick up a cup of tea, a coffee, or when you walk to the bathroom. Those mini breaks, how do we come back to the self, kind of recognizing, okay, how am I feeling now? How am I interacting with others? Am I, acting according to who I truly want to be? Or am I acting according to what I think others are expecting me to do? Kind of having those mini self-reflection and mini mindfulness time slots would be really helpful.
Yeah, I really love that. And I think it is so important. And thank you for sharing that. I think essentially is to you're teaching us that we need to give ourselves space so we could find clarity through the self-reflection and time and space helps us to guide us and look for that self-center and groundness, right? So how to stay grounded, how to stay rooted. One of the
Yeah,
reason
yeah.
about this podcast, it's called Rooted and Rising, right? So it's very in line with what you just explained. Rooted for who we are, rooted for the awareness. And I think because we need that self-reflection, The purpose of a self-reflection is for us to understand what truly matters to us. And I think you mentioned about the false expectations, just because we were told that's the way we should be expecting, right? Through generational coaching, through societal expectation. But that doesn't mean essentially they're always the right expectation to have, or how
Mhm,
to manage those expectations and navigate through it. Those are the things that
mhm,
we need to learn, right? And I
mhm.
also
Yeah.
think that how to remind ourselves, I mean, remind ourselves how to sometimes need to break those patterns. Where you mentioned earlier, that is when we're aware, only when we are become aware, that's when we could notice the pattern. When we
Mm,
notice the pattern with the clarities through self-reflection,
mhm,
that's
mhm. Yeah.
we can be consciously breaking the pattern and become a newer version of ourselves that ultimately become who we wanted to be.
Yeah, yeah. You're so insightful, in
Thank
terms of,
you.
yeah, when you have space for yourself, and that's when you gain the agency of seeing who you really want to be instead of who you're expected to be.
Right.
And that's where you can have the reflection and to see if these two are aligned.
Yes.
We feel the stretch when those things are not aligned.
Yes.
And we can only do this in the space of here and now, that, when we give ourselves a minute and reflect on it and we
Yes.
see it. Otherwise, if we're busy going through the day, kind of grinding through what we feel like we have to do, if
Right.
we're constantly in that state, we don't give ourselves the space for reflection. Um, and so if we don't even realize the pattern that we're
Yes.
on,
Yes.
right, then there's
Yes.
no way to fix it.
I agree. And sometimes life brings challenges that go beyond stress, and many families experience that quietly, right? So,
Mhm.
continuing our point, if someone or someone in their family is struggling with anxiety or depression, how can we best support them? What are some of the compassionate or evidence-based ways to help them feel better and regain
Mhm.
balance?
Mhm. Mhm. I love the word compassionate.
Yeah.
I think you already see the answer, because compassion is something that one human can give to the other, and that is also scientifically evidenced. When we are with somebody who is in a difficult place, the best way is to, in my own words, is to allow them to be in that difficult place for now, recognizing that they're going through the difficult time and allowing them to be there for a while. We see a lot of, in real life, we see a lot of times when we can't bear to see somebody we love who are, in so much anxiety, or in a depressed state. We can't bear it. It's so hard to see that's happening to somebody we love. But so we tend to jump to suggesting, oh, you should do this, you should try that, or we try to offer solutions like, okay, just don't think about this, or don't, you think in the way that you do, you should be more positive, be positive. That kind of those kind of it kind of comes from our own anxiety.
Perspective. Right.
Yeah, it comes from our perspective, how we think it should be.
Right.
But for that person who is in the state, I think the best thing is that we recognize that that is what she needs, where she needs to be. She's in the state for a reason. Our body and mind always has a way to protect ourselves. And our body and mind knows what's the best for us. So if somebody is in a state of being depressed, that's probably where they should be. They need to be depressed and heal eventually from where they are. It's like getting sick. If we catch a cold it means, some virus has it has gotten into our body and our body has needs the time and energy to fight it. And while our body is doing it, we feel sick. But we need to give our body the space to really go through the process and fight it. So I think that's how we give compassion to others, to kind of allowing them to be in that state for as long as they need.
Yeah. And I think that, no, thank you for sharing that. And I think in collaborating of what you said in our earlier discussion or conversation, giving the space and allowing ourselves or themselves to be who they are for those times. And I think allowing is such an important thing that we often overlook, and not allowing is what's causing a lot of stress, meaning that we often say, how come I'm not better yet? Right? How come my
Hmm.
cold has not get better? It's already been 2, 3 days. Why is my body not
Yeah,
responding correctly? So the more we grasp the ideas that we should be better already, itself is already creating stress and it's already creating
yeah.
suffering. And by
Mm.
you mentioning here and actually really point out that the allowing part is, it's gonna make a pivotal shift in understanding that the alignment needs to come before the result comes.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. I'll share a case where, one of my clients has shared with me. She came when she felt really depressed and and because her husband passed away a month ago. And her question was, it's been a month. Why am I not feeling better? You know, because we're in this age, era where everything goes so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has a deadline. Everything we need to see the results so quickly, right? So we fall into a pattern of kind of wanting to see a shift, a result in a visible way. But I'm like, it's only been a month, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And and what you need to go through, maybe you need a year, maybe you need 5 years. I don't know. It's really individual. Maybe somebody can really come out in a month, but apparently it's not you. And we really, at the same time of allowing others, we should really allow ourselves as
Mm-hmm.
well to
Mm-hmm.
to process things.
That's really nice. I think just by hearing that, it's already giving me a sense of calmness, give me a sense of peace, give me a sense of knowing that we are on the journey of healing and everyone has a different schedule and
Yeah.
pace of healing, and allowing that and acknowledge and honor each individual's own pace. It's very, very graceful and important. So, as we wrap up, I want to touch on something that I think a lot of people can relate to. For someone who has done all the right things, building a career, raising a family, creating stabilities, or but still feeling something is missing, right? What can they begin to reconnect with a deeper sense of meaning and fulfillment?
I really love that question, Tracy. I think in a sense, that's all of us.
Yes,
In some ways, we try very hard. We work
yes,
very hard, trying
yes,
to build something,
yes.
you know,
And
through our lives.
yes, and I think a lot of us trying to prove our worth, even though we are told, I mean, even though we know that we don't need to, but there's always that subconscious and consciously that we prove who we are. We wanted to show that we can make it to this, we can make it to that, make our family proud, make our friends proud, you know? Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's I have that too, I feel like, oh, I should be able to do this, I should
mhm.
be able to do this thing better and be a better career woman and a family
Better
woman,
parent,
a
better
better
wife,
parent.
better partner, better friend, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
all of
and,
that.
and I really think for a woman's perspective, we have such a multidimensional role in the society, especially if you're talking about a woman who become a parent, mother. They're playing so many roles as a daughter, as a wife, as employees or startup, whatever that is, and
Mhm.
managing all areas of her life. And still, at the end of the day, still not feeling she's done enough, and
Yeah,
she
they have
still need to
accomplished
do
enough.
better, right? And I really think that it's how, and I think that today our conversation and discussing point to me is very meaningful because um, it gives us a time to pause and discuss what we usually don't have time to think. Right. Most of the time, I think every day we're just so busy. Days flew by because we have so many
Yeah,
to-do lists. We have so many
yeah,
tasks to accomplish. And at the end
right.
of the day, everyone just like, I'm so tired. What do you expect me to think? No.
Yeah,
And then the next day you just start all over again. Go to work, pick up your kids, do the dinner, wash dishes, do house chore, take care of your
yeah,
family, or maybe just say hi and that's it. Like every day feels like a fast speed of a bullet train or something. And I
exactly,
think that
exactly.
being able to sit down here and go over questions and hearing about you sharing your insights and knowledges, it's so precious. And I really appreciative this opportunities.
Thank you so much, Tracy. So I guess for me, how I would approach, feeling the emptiness is exactly is to really get to know myself better, you know, to ask myself, what is it that I feel like is missing? If we feel like something is missing in life, then we should really ask ourselves, what is it that we feel like is missing? And whatever the answer is, it could be self-worth, could be money, could be recognition, whatever it is. I think it leads to a deeper question. Do we really need it?
Mm-hmm.
As who we are. If we
Yep.
really get to know who we are,
Yes.
then we can revisit that thinking, that feeling of something is missing.
Yes.
And of course, at the same time, really need to pat ourselves on the back.
Yes.
We have been doing so much, and we're so superwoman.
Yes.
But nobody recognizes it. I mean, not nobody.
I
I mean,
recognize.
we recognize that in each other.
Yes.
Um, but societally, there's less recognition
I agree.
um, in motherhood or because we tend to, in the society, we tend to recognize somebody's value by seeing how much they make,
Mm-hmm.
what's their job title.
Yes.
And when we have us a kind of a sense of security, okay, I'm a manager, or like,
Yes.
okay, I make this much.
I made it finally, right? I made it
Yeah,
to this level.
yeah,
And then there's a bigger thing to trace again. Like you made it to manager, Molly, then I need you to make a
yeah,
senior manager.
exactly, exactly. Even when you make that, you feel like there's a next step.
Yeah, always next step.
Yeah, and imagine
You made partner. You need to make senior partner.
exactly. Yeah, and you need to bring, 10 more clients. But the other hand, we don't have that promotion. So it's even harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have
Yeah.
that promotion or raise. We
Well,
just keep at it,
yeah,
right?
and think about it, as a mother, you think about where your school goes. I mean, what school your kids go to. What grade do they get? And then you think about elementary, then you think about middle school, and you think about what high school they should go, and you think about what college
Mhm.
they should go, and after college, what job they're gonna get. Okay, after they get a job, well, who they should marry? Are they gonna have kids? How many kids are they gonna have? And what kids are they gonna go to school? It's like endless.
Yeah, when is that gonna end, right? It's never gonna end.
So really the point is not about chasing what's the process, what's the progress of the next step. Really is really bring all of that back to center. to
Yeah.
everything that we just talked about. What
Yeah.
what truly matters to you, to him, to her, to me,
Yeah.
right?
Who do I truly want to be and who am I, you know?
Who are you
Who,
living your life for? Are you living your life for a validation of someone in your family, for
mhm,
your parents, for your
mhm,
spouse, or
mhm.
for work? I mean, think about that. Those are the questions we're throwing out there for people to think, right? It's not for me to answer. It's not for Molly to answer. It's not for other people to answer for me either. Um, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think about that, as a result of being a happiness coach, I'm forced to reflect on myself as well when I
Yes.
talk to other people. This is a great benefit of doing this. Um, I just think, who am I and what do I really want?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's great. I love. And Molly, I want to say I really appreciative and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and insights with us today. And I love how
Thank
you
you.
bring science, perspective, and compassion together, and reminding us that happiness is not an abstract idea, but a skill that we can nurture through awareness and intention. For everyone listening, I hope today's conversation encourages you to keep learning, stay curious, and bring a sense of purpose and well being into both your personal and professional life. And thank you for tuning in to Rooted and Rising. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who would appreciate the insight and keep rising one grounded moment at a time.
Thank you, Tracy.
You're
That was
welcome.
wonderful.